Morning, sir.
The arm wrestling show, as we have so called it, for lack of a better name. Before we start getting into the topic at hand, which is TAL 1, let's do a shout out to our Patreon members. The Alpha members get a shout out every single episode. So yourself, Jeff Frank, Bruce Willis, Barbarian Arm Wrestling, Ready Go Garb, Brian Kerner, and Ready Go Solutions. We appreciate the support, guys, and thank you very much. And once we get this channel monetized, you're actually going to see our Teespring store, but it's also in the description of this video. You'll see it. There's a link to the Teespring store, and we do have a sponsorship spot open if anyone's out there looking where to sink their money into an up-and-coming arm wrestling show that's going to stand the test of time. And Uncle John and Dustin and Ward, they're all back in there already. Like, I was getting messages at 7:05 saying, "What's going on? Why isn't there any show?" And yeah, we moved it. We moved it to 9 a.m. primarily because I got to get the kids to school. So we could have kept it at 7, I guess, but we sure couldn't do it at 8. But here we are, 9 o'clock. So how's it going, Jeff?
Really good. How you doing, Ryan?
A little tired. Yeah. Getting a little antsy. Training my ass off. Hired new coach. So
oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm actually getting coached by the Angry Turk. Engen Terzi is actually rebuilding and restructuring some of my arm wrestling training.
Oh, is that right? What do you do that all online or what?
Online, and I got to tell you, the stuff he has me doing is more of an isolation style of training instead of compound movements. And I am sore in places that I have not been sore in a long time. So
awesome. Good to hear.
It's going to, I think, make it be a difference maker. So
I'm not going to I was just saying, I recently joined up with Vitaly Digorenko for training. So, and it's more one-on-one at the gym. So it's been a big help.
That's Vitaly, the guy that arm wrestled on the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's his birthday. It's his
birthday.
Today.
Shout out to Vitaly.
Happy birthday, Vitaly. And you know who else's birthday it is? Dallas Langston.
Happy birthday, buddy.
And we're going to be talking about both of those guys. So let's get right in. Richard, good morning. Dustin was waiting at 7. Sorry, man. Tune in at 9 now. From now on is hopefully how it's going to pan out. And I got some cats wandering around here making noise. But let's go. Where do we want to start? What was the first match, Jeff?
TAL 1. Yeah, it kicked off the super matches. Of course, arm wrestlers is like herding cats. So we didn't get going until about 1:30. Everybody showing up late. But it kicked off with a preliminary super match. It had Red Deer's Dwayne Freeborn against Grand Prairie's Jay Hayden.
Dwayne Freeborn I'm familiar with, mostly because Curtis Mocan talks about him once in a while. Mm-hmm. And I think they even kind of went at each other a little bit, but in good fun. And Jay Hagen, he's an impressive looking dude, and he was wearing a kilt.
Yeah, he's a Scottish descent. He competes in the Canadian strongman competition, so he's always training strength type stuff, and he's a strong boy.
So what was the final score of that match, and who took it?
Jay took it 3-0.
Jay took it 3-0, and that's impressive because I think both of these guys are fairly new, but Dwayne, was it? He's relatively seasoned and training with the Red Deer Club, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both are still new. Jay's been on and off for the last 3 years. He was going hard in arm wrestling, went back to strongman, come back to arm wrestling. So he's probably got more depth when it comes to experience than Dwayne does.
And Jay's nickname is the Ginger Knot, somebody's saying?
Yeah, the Ginger Knot. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, Billy Berg, good morning. All right, so we got that match. And at this point, there's no controversy yet.
No.
So that match just goes off without a hitch. Then we get into the next one. Who was up next?
That was Vitaly Digorenko and Steve Gaber.
Okay. That one was interesting because what I observed is that Gaber just kind of dragged him down. And then I see Fraser jump in there and do a little talking with Vitaly. And all of a sudden the match changes. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'll tell you, I've said it 100 times. If there's anybody you want in your corner, it's Fraser Benoit. I don't think I know of a better guy to coach you, especially when you're coming back from behind or trying to come back from behind. Fraser's one of the most dynamic guys when it comes to teaching you just little things to get you out of bad positions, and he did that with Vitaly. And Vitaly comes back and wins it 3-2.
Yeah, it was impressive, and stamina came into play, I think, a little bit, because at the end of that match, you see Vitaly still in a full-on posting top roll, and you've got Gaber kind of trying some extended press that didn't look like it was going to bear fruit whatsoever, and then it didn't. So we end up with a 3-2 win for Vitaly, a hard-fought come-from-behind win, and congratulations to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was impressive to come back, and he when he told me, he says, "Oh boy," he says, "I can't believe I'm going to win this. This is the best I've ever felt," and he was certain he was going to win. So he was a little down on himself when it was up 2-0, but yeah, good on him. He come back and
yes, so good for him, sucking it up and getting through it.
Yeah.
So at this point, there's still no controversy.
Everything's running smooth. Yeah, the refs are switching back and forth. You know, each match they're taking their turns. So
yeah. So moving forward, match number 3.
That was Dan Gallo and Jesse Halliday.
Right. Right. You're gonna have to walk us through that one because I'm a little foggy on that match.
You know, it's hard. Dan Gallo is a really, really good bowler. He looked jacked. He's strong, but hey, Jesse Halliday is the best 198-pounder right-handed in Canada, bar none. And
it looks, for Dan Gallo, it looks like you took the arms off of a He-Man doll and put it on a G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. He is very, very structured, very, very built, takes his training seriously, but Jesse Halliday is on another level. I've got so much in the works for that guy. There was no beat. I don't know. He's a top 190-pound right-handed bowler in Canada. Him and Jason Levine.
Well, Jason Levine is like freakish, man. In my eyes, he's like one of the next big things, but Jesse can't be far behind. I mean, Jesse looked impressive at the Nationals back in Edmonton, which was, I mean, we're a couple years old now, but he seems to have made leaps and bounds since then as well.
His progress is incredible. And here's what's impressive to me about Jesse. In the overalls, Len Houghton goes up against Brendon Mulvihill. Len goes through Brendon.
Squishes him.
Yeah. Goes through him easily. Then Jesse and Len. And, you know, Jesse beats Len. You know.
That's barely impressive.
Yeah, yes, that's it. 198-pound against a 300-pound guy in Len Houghton. And Len looked absolutely the best Len has looked in many years in my eyes. He looked so strong at that tournament.
Yeah, Lenny's never a slouch, but he looks like he's starting to return to his old form. Yeah. So we got that match, and it looked like it was, what was the final score of that one? Because it looked, if I'm being honest, Jesse didn't seem to have a very tough day.
No, it was 3-0 Jesse.
Yeah. And then he goes on, of course, and he wins his class and then wins the damn tournament, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he won his class. He won the overall right hand. And actually, Dan ended up winning the left hand overall, which to me, again, is really incredible and shows where Dan's at.
It's equally impressive, correct? So we go on and we have these two guys that pulled in a super match, winning their respective right and left arm. So
yeah.
At this point, I
was going to say, how often you see overalls outside the top 2 weight classes? No, it's rare, you know. And you got a 198-pound guy take it, and then you got a 176-pound guy take it.
Did you do King of the Table style overalls?
No, we just started heaviest to lightest.
And it was like a bracket.
Yeah, so whoever won the class, the first 2 up would have been the supers against the 2 20-pound class. So it was Len and Brendon, and then it just goes down from there.
One time, I remember them doing the nationals, an overall at the national championship, and Butcher put up like a few $100, I think, for each arm. And they did it King of the Table style, where the winner of the super heavyweight senior class stays up and then goes through every other class winner in order of weight. Except, here was the catch. So I stayed up and I did the left arm. And I went against the 242 champ, the 221 champ, all the way down. But when you got to the bottom of it, you started in the master's class. So then you have Len Houghton come up to the table after you've gone through every, like, it was interesting. And but I remember I won the left arm overall, and then Anthony D'Antoni, I think, won the right, because Mike Gould was up there and he ran out of gas, and I think Anthony pinned him. Yeah, but anyway, back to TAL. So we have this match, and it was where are we at? Where were we at? I lost my place here.
We were talking about Dan Gallo, Jesse Halliday. Yeah, I think we're moving on now.
And there's no controversy at this point.
Nope.
Still.
So now we're getting into some bigger matches in terms of, I mean, they're all big matches, but yeah, now we get into Joe Fox and Alex Martesis.
Which was, I mean,
right
Joe Fox is watching. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, John Berg. Good morning, Bindasar. And then we have one of the best matches that we've seen in a long time. Joe versus Alex.
Yeah, what a great match. And I mean, this one was bound to happen eventually. I think they both wanted each other for a while. I mean, Joe wanted this match, and now I guess I got to take a foot in my mouth because I said Alex was going to win that one. And yeah, Joe proved us all wrong. I think you picked Alex too.
Yeah, you know who? I think about 18 seconds after Joe won that match, he sent me a message on Facebook. So, Joe, props to you, brother. And I'm sorry.
I apologize as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe is, looking really good. So, what was the final score of that match?
Oh, I can't remember if Joe took a couple losses on fouls or not. I think it was 3-1.
Yeah.
I think Joe took a loss on fouls. I can't remember exactly.
So now if you're matching up Joe, do you look for like the Anthony D'Antonias, or do you go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Anthony's definitely right there. Like I was telling the guys, it's not necessarily, obviously whoever finished second, in their classes will should get a chance, but it all depends how COVID plays out.
Hang on. So Joe wins a super match. Does he go on and win his class as well?
Joe didn't pull the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. Joe didn't pull the tournament. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly. It's all going to play down to logistics. Who gets the next shot? If they're available. Really, it goes to the second guy in place. But you know what? There's lots of intriguing matchups to make here. Like it's not like a Kelly Leach can't jump in right away and try to pull for that 176 belt. I mean, he's definitely deserves a chance just being Kelly Leach, and we'll see who's available.
All right.
We do TAL too. So. All
right. We'll talk about the TAL 2 after we break down TAL 1, because there's a lot of things flying around out there, and we need to get them in. Get our house in order here and talk a little bit about that. But so moving on, we got the next match is
for that we had Fraser, Benoit, and Ty Sikol.
Yes, and I had talked to Fraser a little bit previous to this match, and I told him, I said, you got to watch out. The kid is fast. Like crazy. I started to watch him, and he's like, well, I'm fast too. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I'm just warning you, he's gonna hit hard, and he did. He hit and pinned Fraser in first match, and Fraser might have taken him lightly. But what I saw was the veteran, regroup, make adjustments, pull defensively largely for the, or hit for position at very least for the next rounds. And then Ty kind of just trying the same move a few times. which is it'll come with time. He'll make adjustments, and he'll be a superstar at some point.
Yeah.
And Fraser managing to take him into deep waters and pull him over and get that win.
Yeah, you hit it said it perfectly there. Ty didn't change anything up. He tried the same thing. It works when it's on, and that hit is extremely fast. And yeah, Fraser was working out of a defensive position almost every match. But yeah, I think his experience and his knowledge and his power, was too much for Ty to handle. And yeah, I think the first one when Ty got him, it caught Fraser by surprise, and he woke up there, and yeah.
I think if anyone is ever asked the question, how do you deal with someone that's that much faster than you? That's a great match to watch.
Yep.
Because Fraser was not hitting to win anymore. He was hitting for a position, and getting into that position and able to stop the match and go to work, and pull it out. And it was impressive.
Yeah. And I'm not taking anything away from Ty, because Ty is going to be tremendous in the sport for years to come. But, Fraser, he didn't do a whole lot after that loss. He took to Jason DeBray. He kind of sat around and didn't work out a whole lot, didn't do any training. He was basically coming into this with a 4-week training camp. But, Fraser's Fraser. He's always strong. But
Yeah, 4 weeks is not a lot to come back. And, yeah, take nothing away from Ty, because Ty is probably a future contender. Might be a contender right now, actually. But he's, we'll see them again many times, I'm sure. And all you guys in the comments section, I'm keeping track of them. We're going to go back through them, but we're going to finish up the TAL recap first, and then we'll get in there. So we done with Fraser? Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, you got bad company, Evan Burgoyne and Mark Gay, right hand.
A right hand match. So this match just looked like all Evan. Like Mark didn't look like he had anything to stop him. He was hitting, posing, talking shit, slamming his arm down. Yeah. And surprisingly, maybe we should talk about both matches at the same time here. Because everyone was saying they thought Mark had a shot on the right arm and had no chance on the left.
Yeah, it was the exact opposite.
It was the exact opposite, because Evan dominated the right hand, and Mark looked like he should have won that left-handed match.
Yeah, that was Mark's for the taking there.
And it was, a combination of, I don't know if it was nerves or just not being patient enough when he got into his positions, and he ended up losing it all on fouls. Like there was,
I don't think there was one pin in that match.
I think Uncle John's show the other night, Evan said there was no pins.
Yeah, I don't think there was.
Yeah, it was 100% and done on fouls. And but the positions that Mark found himself in looked like they were dominant enough that he should have been able to pull that match out. And then I lose my money to Grippler, so I friggin' e-transferred Grippler $50 because I had $50 on Mark. But I know Mark looked good, and I would still bet on him if they had the rematch tomorrow, because that's how good he looked in the match.
Yeah, Evan looked really impressive, and what a great guy. It was the first time meeting him. All I ever seen was stuff online and videos, and to meet the guy, travel with him a couple of hours. Just a stand-up guy. He is what he is. He's loud and funny and obnoxious, but it's what makes him a really good guy.
I'm going to start throwing some of these comments up on the screen. Joe Fox saying Evan is an event in itself. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. So we've got both of those matches kind of broken down a little bit. There is a little controversy at this point because there's starting to be some fouls that maybe guys don't agree with being fouled. And they were calling it super tight, like tighter than PAL. Like it's I don't know if I've like some of those little microscopic fouls really changed the outcome of some of those matches, and Mark and Evan for sure.
Yeah, oh man, I don't know. Like from where I was sitting, there were some fouls that I know I think Evan didn't like, but from where I was sitting, I mean, they were substantial to me. Like I'm talking 1 inch off the pad. I could see, daylight.
Yeah, camera angles don't tell the truth either.
Yeah, so I don't know. In those matches, I'm just leaving it up to the refs that they trying to do the best that they can do. They're seeing what they're seeing, and it's easy to point fingers, but they were there to try to do the best job they could.
All right. So you're trying to throw life preserver to your referees, which I understand.
I mean, they take so much flack. It don't matter where you go. You can be in WAF and at Worlds and they're too strict, or PAL, or if it's WL, Bart's a shithead. It's easy to point the finger. It's human nature to always deflect and blame somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a true story. I mean, like I've had bad experiences with referees, and I won't bring them all up, but it's the shittiest job at the whole tournament.
It's terrible. It's terrible,
especially when you're doing it in an environment where you're going to be refereeing for the whole day. And I've done that too, but it's no good. All right, where are we at? Who are we missing?
We're on to the main event,
and this is the last super match.
Yeah.
All right, we got Brendon versus
Brendon and Dallas,
and this match was weird.
Yeah. Well, here's where I take the accountability for this match. We had talked some stuff even on our show with Dallas about flipping for this and doing it this way. I got caught up in the whole day being busy. And here's the things: when you have a match of this caliber, you owe it to the pullers to give them the best opportunity possible and the fans for this caliber of people. So when I look at lessons learned and chalk it up for lessons learned, it's first thing I did wrong was, okay, when we had a little meeting there with all the super match pullers, I said, this is all CAWF rules, and I left it at that. Well, fucking Dallas don't know nothing about CAWF rules. I feel I kind of hung them out to dry there.
I don't know about that.
I did, because I think it was.
There's that one stipulation that we said on our show that they get to flip. And when they went to the table, they said whoever's name was called first, which is not fair in a super match setting. And I think probably Stu should have said, hey, wait a minute, let's flip for this because they're asking to flip for this, when Dallas makes it obvious that he wants the strap. But that's neither here nor there, because whenever it went to the strap, Dallas was dominant anyway.
Sure.
So it didn't matter.
For sure.
The side of the table didn't matter at that point.
No, so you're right.
That's that's a technicality at this point.
Yeah, and you're right. To me, clarity is key. And I feel I should have taken everybody aside, just those people, and taken Stu, Vince, Dallas, and Brendon aside and say, hey, is everybody crystal clear on what we're doing? Do you know the rules? Do you know the setup? Do you know what the fouls are? These are CAWF rules. Is everybody clear? Secondly, I'm very disappointed in myself about the video. I do believe in a match like this, video reviews should be available and should be followed and used immediately if there's anything in question. I didn't have that in place. I feel that was huge on me not to have. So guess what? I get to go shopping today and buy professional high definition cameras for the next one. So I'm excited.
I think you'd be further ahead to have two other referees watching from.
Well, and that was my third point, is having master referees. I'm not taking anything away from the job that these guys did, but I did try to have Dave Hicks and Anthony Delantonio up here for this. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it due to COVID and didn't want to come. So here's what I had. We try to make the best of what we had. They are qualified CAWF refs. They've been around for a while.
So. Uncle John says it's the puller's responsibility to know the rules, and I agree with that. But did Dallas know that it was CAWF rules like ahead of time?
Well, see, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I can't remember if I told Dallas before what rule set they were until before we started running the super matches that I just said they're CAWF rules, and that doesn't really give him much time to.
Well, I mean, you think he would do some homework on that, right? So. CAWF, WAF, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
USAAF or whatever, all those organizations,
Yeah.
very similar. So the rule set's not tremendously different unless you're doing WAL setups, which Dallas, as far as I know, has never pulled in a WAL event anyway. So it shouldn't be that confusing. Anyway, so that's not really where the controversy really comes in. The controversy really comes in, well, the setups were a little wonky because Dallas was clearly going for a strap and starting with a weird dumped wrist grip. So that's one thing. But the other thing is Mother Nature decided to intervene after match 2. And during the start of match 3, there's a foul called on Brendon. The tent blows down, causes a little bit of chaos. And tell me if I'm getting this right. So they restart the match. Dallas says, wasn't there a foul? The referees, Brendon says no. Referees say no. They pull, and then Brendon wins the next 3 matches. But upon review, you see that there actually was an elbow foul. So Brendon, through accumulating elbow fouls in match 3, technically lost the match 3-0. So that was why it was overturned at the end. Am I getting all this right so far?
Yep.
All right. So, I mean, you have human error. You have a few things going on. So Dallas says that there's a foul, but he's not convicted enough that there's he's not 100% sure, so he's not going to make a huge argument out of it. Brendon says there isn't. Whether or not he believes that or is a different topic. The referees miss it. You guys go through it. You end up coming back, and it was a 3-2 finish for Brendon, and then it got overturned to 3-0 for Dallas. The match was close enough that it warrants a rematch, and I think that's what you're working on.
Yeah, it's on me to make this happen again. I feel I owe it to both guys and the fans. I put a lot of work into making this happen, and I mean, the refs made some mistakes, and I feel I made some mistakes, and the only thing we can do is correct it and make it right and redo this again and make it bigger and better, and just move on from it.
Well, I mean, it's not sometimes these things happening can build it up for the next match. So, and the next event, you see this stuff happen all the time. Michael Todd and Jerry Cataret, are you kidding me? That match is one of the biggest, how do you call it? It's a mess.
Yeah.
And they have the opportunity to run it back.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, if I'm being completely honest, because we get to see the match again.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Are you changing rule sets, or are you just bringing in master refs, or what's the story here? Because
I'm working on some stuff right now, and I'm building a website, and where my TAL event will have its own rule set, which will primarily follow the CAWF rules regardless. But I want it to be flexible enough that if we go to a different country, that we can amend it to work towards WAF rules, and which are very similar anyways. So, I just want to keep it, create my own set of rules based off CAWF and WAF rules, but have them posted, and anybody can print it out off my website. No matter where we go, they're readily available for everybody. So.
Now, you may not know this, but I'm actually a level 3 referee in the CAWF, and I would have tried masters, but for the longest time, you couldn't get your masters unless you refereed on the senior day at the nationals, and I'm not done competing in that. So, but if you need someone to help you write a set of rules that's both user friendly and follows the CAWF guidelines, I'm happy to do that and help you with that. But it's I think you're on the right track, man. I don't think you should feel bad because this happened. I mean,
I feel horrible it happened.
You shouldn't. Shouldn't.
When you pull 2 guys aside and you listen, everybody shits on Brendon for. They call him arrogant, they call him this, they call him that. That guy lives and thrives off off his belief in himself. It's like Ali Hamadia. Both guys are very similar, and it comes across cocky, arrogant, whatever. But the guy is such a good guy. When you meet him, he's a good person. And when you've seen, man, I'm telling you, when just talking to these guys after the match, and you've seen the pain in their eyes, like that's hard to swallow. It's a very, very difficult to see how much they put into this and how much they both wanted it to say, hey guys, we got a problem here, and I mean, this is what we're going to have to do. Like, man, it didn't sit well with me at all. It's still bugging me. And
here's the deal, right? I mean, in a time where your dance card's not really full with any bookings, it's not the worst thing in the world that these guys can look forward to a rematch.
No, I agree. I understand that completely. You know, to me, you know, it helps me build a league. One, seeing where things went wrong and what we can do to improve it. It gives me all kinds of options to say, hey, you know, the next one, easy to have master referees there. That's what I'm going to do. 4 big matches like that. You know, it's easy to say.
I'm going to play the heel here, Jeff, because, you know, had the match just finished and Dallas would have won it 3-0, we wouldn't be talking about it anymore.
No, I absolutely. No, and that's exactly right. And yeah, if it would have been over, nobody would have said a word. But, you know,
TAL's got so much momentum that the other TAL changed their name.
Yeah, the Texas Arm Wrestling League is now the Texas Arm Wrestling Federation. So, I mean, listen, I got all sorts of. Anyways, continue on. We'll get into that later.
What do you want to get into? Because we talked about the matches. Like, I think, okay, we're going to run it back. There's nothing you can do to change it. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that happened that was outside your control. Some of it was within, some of it was not. Some of it was outside your control. You know, Vitaly got smoked in the head when the 10 blew over, so you had to make sure he was okay. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that happened, right?
Oh, yeah, it was chaotic.
Yeah.
Straight.
And then you regroup and you continue a super match that's halfway finished.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, it
happens.
Shit happens. Totally. You know, like I said,
learn and you run it back.
Yeah, no, for me, it gives me an opportunity. You know, like I said today, I'm looking forward to going out today and buying 2 really good high-definition cameras, both sides of the table, production cameras for the next event.
Here's the problem with cameras. The angle of the camera has to be precise.
I'm not doing it for just necessarily to make calls, but I'm saying just for the fans themselves to have the quality feed that they deserve in a match like this.
Yeah. So I think you'd be further ahead to do it WAF style, where you have 2 refs at the table and then 1 or 2 refs watching the match from the sidelines.
That was the other thing. Yeah.
They can give their input. And it's in the long run, it'll be more expensive than the high definition cameras, because once you buy those cameras, you have them. But I mean, you had 4 refs. So
that was on me too, and trust me, I know. I mean, we had the resources available to make that happen, and I didn't put that in place either.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's we're moving on from it. It is what it is. It happened. We've dealt with it.
Okay.
Lots of things in place to make it better.
So we'll talk about the next TAL event.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you want to go to next?
Yeah.
But first, let's clean up the comment section here so we can address some of the things. It won't take us long. Corey Peterson says, when is Manitoba having their arm wrestling meet in Winnipeg? I don't know. There's some guys working on some stuff. COVID is obviously dictating some of the things that are happening there. I think there is a plan to still have a provincial championship at some point, and it'll be outside somewhere. We'll see. Corey Peterson says, can you still close the captain's crush number 3? Probably not. I haven't trained grippers in a long time. There's a lot of talk about Jody Williams is in the house. There's a lot of talk about knowing the rules and not knowing the rules, and some other stuff about referees and rematches. And Jeff Miller says that controversy was the best thing that could have happened for publicity and excitement building for the next event. And Timmy Turner says a big problem of arm wrestling events are terrible streams. So, yeah, that's one thing that, Streaming, I thought that you would be able to get pay-per-view on this one, to be honest. We talked a little bit about that.
I can't do that because I had Brendon Lemon-Mulvihill there.
Oh, that's right. The
So
WAL.
I couldn't pay-per-view it, so I had to run it. There was the Wi-Fi internet connection out there was a little shoddy, so it is what it is. But it's all lessons learned, and trust me.
Yeah.
If anybody had any idea where I want to take the TAL, trust me, it'll only get better. I have unlimited vision.
Well, let's talk about that. TAL2. What are your thoughts other than the rematch?
So I got all kinds of thoughts going on. I had one of holding it in California. I've had thoughts of holding it in Uzbekistan. I've had thoughts of holding another one here in Canada. I'm negotiating deals all over the world right now. One of the perks that's going to come with being a TAL champion is that you're going to get the ability to fly all over the world. I'm going to take 2-3 champions at a time. Okay, TL2s. I don't want to run these every 3 to 4 months. I want to run these every 2 to 3 weeks, and all over the place. And that's my long-term goal. And to take the TAL and have people pull different people from all over the world. That's my vision. That's where I want to take it, and that's where I'm going to take it. And I'm negotiating these deals in Europe and Asia and in the Middle East and down south. And so right now with TAL with the COVID, it's a little bit tricky. But
so there was some talk about the Dubai Dream. Is that a TAL event?
No,
it could be.
Not. It could be. Yeah, I got friends in Dubai too that I've been talking with, and friends in Corbin in Uzbekistan. That all kinds of things going. So it's going to be interesting to see. With our champions, that they're going to get the chance to fly and go see different parts of the world and put their belt on the line and pull different people. And just, if Joe becomes champion in Uzbekistan, then he gets a chance to fly to Canada or fly to the US or wherever, to do things like this. But Chris Gobby says, you shouldn't be making money off arm wrestling. It's the most fucking ridiculous thing I ever heard. You can't grow a sport without making money. And it's not to make money to line your own pockets. It's to make money to grow the sport. You can't grow a sport without having some sort of generated revenue. Now, the revenue is maybe not the way it usually goes about. It's the athletes are funding their own program, and we owe it as promoters to give the athletes the best possible tournament you can give them. And we owe them that because they're paying for it. But we need to build on that and charge money to be able to grow these events. And I was getting flack of holding it down in the States. Well, sure, I understand. Well, it's to bring Canada to be a hub of arm wrestling, is to grow it outside of Canada as well. And maybe we could take events here and there. But you guys are coming with me, as a champion. It gives you something to work towards. We need revenue. We need to make money to make this work. And
we're not running a charity. You got to make some money. I think that argument, I don't even want to go down that path because every sport is there to make money. Every sporting organization needs to be profitable to survive. Otherwise, who's going to do it?
Yeah, well, and that's exactly it. Right now the athletes are funding their own events. I get it. That's not the atypical way. But, until we get to a place.
Not sustainable.
Until we get to a place where this is on television, it's mainstreamed. And now the fans are paying for what they want to see in sponsorship deals or television programming contracts or whatever it may be. We're not there yet. So this is how we have to get there, is by funding our own sport, making some money, growing the sport, and growing. If video gaming can be on Sportsnet, arm wrestling can be on Sportsnet. Trust me, and I'll make it happen.
I hope you do, man. So when are we going to hear the date announced for the next TAL?
Pardon me?
When are you going to announce the date?
Well, I'm working on super matches right now. So Fraser Benoit is going to defend his left-hand belt against Alan Ford in the Masters belt. I'm going to work on Len Houghton.
Fraser's defending his belt?
Alan's defending his belt.
Alan's defending his belt.
Fraser's the challenger.
Yeah.
Ian Carnegie will challenge Van Houten for his belt. That's what I'm going to work on.
Yeah, I like that. I like that match. That's a good match.
I haven't talked to Ian about it yet, but that's what I'm going to work on. There's all kinds of things. I had a venue picked in California to run an event back to back here down there, and take 2 or 3 guys. I was going to take Ali. That would have been the BLM Langston rematch, but the venue they had and the COVID things going on in California, it just wasn't. It just didn't logistically make sense. I didn't like it, so I just kiboshed that idea. Then there were some things floating around about doing TAL Canada versus USA. I loved the idea. I worked on the idea. I did some research, but I'm thinking, why would I do that when I have the Red Deer Classic and the foundation for that is already in place? Let's just build off that and make it to whatever we want. Maybe it's North America against the world, Canada versus US, whatever we want to do. So,
yeah, I got an announcement to make. Mark Zalepa is here.
Nice.
That is all. Mark, I think you guys should pull. I think Zalepa should come back and pull Jeff Frank. No comment, Jeff?
Yeah, you know me. I'll do anything. I'm not one of these guys that, So, I'll arm wrestle anybody, and I love doing it. I don't care. I'm not, Hey, I understand. I'm never going to be a WAP type puller. I love this sport so much. My vision right now is just to pull, have fun. I'll super match anybody. I want to grow this sport into something big. Listen. The WAL, and maybe I'll never even get the BLM match and the Langston match rematch for saying this, but the WAL pisses me off in the fact that these stupid contracts that people sign, I don't know why people sign these dumb contracts that only help the WAL. It's the most lopsided, one-sided contract in the history of sports.
Now you listen to me.
No, they are. And the reason and why people lock themselves in for 2 years for the novelty of pulling for the wall, because that's all it is. They're getting nothing out of it. And they're saying, okay, well, here, sign a 2-year contract. You can't, for 6 months, you're completely locked down. You can't do anything else. And we may use you 1 or 2 times, if at all. There's people under contract that I haven't seen pull a WL super match in how long. It's ridiculous. People don't sign these WL contracts that only build I'm not saying don't pull WL or don't sign a contract. Be smart about it. And
I would like to announce that the views expressed by Jeff Frank don't necessarily reflect the views of the entire show. And
how can you argue it though?
How can you argue? Well, it's a personal choice, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to watch the episode of Beauty and the Beast with Gary Roberts and Travis Bagent when Travis talks about how people love to be restricted. And sometimes people use it as an excuse to not arm wrestle. However, I mean, you see Matt arm wrestling, you see Brendon arm wrestling, and I think that sometimes it gets in people's heads that they don't want to pull in an open tournament at all because they might lose their spot in the WAL. And they're holding on to the fame. And I think, Jeff, are you still there? He's frozen, man. All right. So we'll wait for Jeff to fix his internet connection or whatever's going on. Okay. Timmy Turner says he's spot on with these WL contracts. Jody Williams signing contracts might make the pullers feel exclusive and important. I completely agree with you. And then Joe Fox says I would put my hat in the ring for any 198 belt or 220 anytime right-handed. Anyway, Jeff's mid-rant, and he gets kicked out of the stream. So we'll wait for him to come back. Hopefully it doesn't take very long, and when he gets back, we shall continue. Or maybe we'll put a bow on this show and we'll unpack it next time. We'll give him a couple minutes and see what's up. But I thank you guys for checking out the show today. It's definitely going to be an interesting situation if when this comes back. Good morning, Peter. To see who can pull, who can't pull, and where the whole thing ends up. It doesn't look like Mr. Jeff Frank is going to be rejoining us anytime here in the next couple of minutes. I hope everything is okay in Alberta, but it just went completely dead. He completely froze. And I will say, give some masters some love with these events. Jody, there is a master's class and there is a master's belt. There are master's belts up for grabs in TAL. Hopefully we hear something in the very near future about the TAL. And number 2 gets announced. We get those rematches. We get some other ones. California might not be the best choice because of what's going on with COVID. But the future is bright. I appreciate you guys watching. More from Jeff and I next week at the same time. Remember, it's 9 a.m. Central now, not 7 a.m. Central. And thank